Good evening, it's Valerie here. It's been a while since I've done one of these lives from my car. I've just come out of getting a flu jab and thought that I had to pay for it, but then I was reminded by my doctor that I have asthma. And so in Australia, apparently I didn't have to pay for it. I hope I'm not getting the doctor in trouble with that, but I'm pretty sure that's legit. When I rang up, they asked me, are you someone who should get a flu jab? I said, no, not really. But apparently I am. So about that post, if you've seen it, I actually literally walked out of the medical practice and saw my own post. And burst out laughing. Now, the way these things work is that these posts get pre-put into a plan, and then they go out weeks before I look, I don't know, I've forgotten what it was this. And so when I saw the post, I actually burst out laughing, and I thought, whatever it was that I was thinking at the time, because these quotes have been taken from things that I say around the places, they're captured and then they're put through the out to social media. Whatever it is, apparently things don't change very much in my world, because I laughed at myself because of the day that I've had today. I'd be like, if you told someone I was having a sabbatical, they'd probably laugh. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Being on a sabbatical for me has got so many different meanings. And I actually read a book about it. What does it mean to be on sabbatical? And then chose for myself what sabbatical would look like for me. So I'm having a rather active sabbatical. I'm basically doing different things, right? I'm refreshing myself. I'm taking risks, right? Not playing safe. I'm doing a degree where I'm making lots of mistakes, and I'm learning things and having to interact with people that I don't know. I'm experimenting with a bunch of things in my own world, as well as just connecting with family during a period of time. I've got my son who's in the HSC. But literally on a day like today, that quote, are you a troublemaker? Are you a rocket that needs to be put in a box so you don't explode? It probably comes from a space where, if you're a little different, if you're a bit out of the box, if you're someone who is vocal, who just can't let things go, and not for troublesome reasons, but from a genuine knowledge that you've got to do something about it, right? So part of the journey that I've been taking is to figure out, in this space where everybody's voice is being heard, social media, audio media, podcasts, everybody's got an opinion, even on Clubhouse. Everybody has something to say. There are so many voices. If you're not struggling with, the stuff that you say to yourself, and not struggling with the immediate surrounds of friends or family telling you what to think and what to do, you're not surrounded by the whole world telling you what to think or what to do. And I've just realized that, man, it's really hard to figure what to listen to. What about my voice? What does my voice stand for? And really believing that, because of some of the work I did with Simon Sinek's group last year, is I really need to stand up for what I believe in, which is do the right thing. It doesn't always have to be the safe thing. Make some mistakes, have the freedom to say, I don't know, stand up for people when they need to say, I don't know, which was like the resounding lesson that I got from doing some work with the Ignite people. If you really believe, if that's your core value for whatever it is for you, right? In that, for me, it's like intellectual humility is really, really important, because we've got some tough things ahead of us. Like, I just came out of the doctor's practice, and it was so funny. Like, he was actually going to give me my injection, and I guess he thought that he was doing me a favor by talking to me, and he was asking me like these questions. It's like, why is it at the moment that every single psychiatrist and psychologist is booked out, for months in advance? And of course, I'm about to get a needle, and I'm doing some deep breathing and some mindful grounding here as the needle's going in. And I'm like, well, I'd love to answer that question, but I need you to give me the needle first, and then I'll be able to answer. And he said, I thought I was distracting you. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way for me, right? Like the whole mindfulness thing, I've got to breathe and then I can talk. So I got fucking distracted now. I don't know why I went into that spiel. Yes, so intellectual humility, of course. And when I planned for my sabbatical, and of course, when I gave birth to my son, who was going to do his HSC this year, none of this was predicted to be during a pandemic. And so the sabbatical really has turned out to be a lot different. And so I guess what I'm getting the sense of is as I'm moving around in my different spheres is that, number one, there's an assumption that a sabbatical means that I'm never stressed. If that was the case, I would not be breathing. I would not have a pulse. Stress is part of everyday living. So just because I'm on a sabbatical doesn't mean that there's no rest. Number two, because I'm on a sabbatical, it means that I should be sipping pina coladas and Something in the Rain. It's like one of my favorite songs. Does not have a very good moral story. But yes, that I should be basically doing nothing, like just sit down for a whole year, people, 12 months doing nothing. We cannot vacation for 12 months. I don't know. You still got to be doing something active. So number two. Number three is that I would not create any work and I would not grow. Meaning that, I would, I don't know, do needlecraft or something. Maybe learn how to make macarons. I don't know what that thought is. But then I would not grow. Now, that third one has really been causing me a lot of problems, and probably why that picture post was created out of something that I said, which is I feel like I'm being a troublemaker. I feel like I'm a rocket being about to explode and like, needing to go back into a box because this is not how it's supposed to be. I'm on sabbatical. And my most recent encounter with, really going through that mindset is that is impossible. So if you are somebody who has interests, who is a bit out of the box, who likes to create, the more you rest, the more you give yourself time to be playful. The freaky thing, right? Like I'm making new friends left, right, and center. And literally, like, because I've got so much more space in my head to embrace relationships, I'm making these really interesting friendships, which means that my social life is a little bit more active as well. And then, like attracts like, and you have these conversations, and it's like, should I go back in the box? Should I go back into the box? It'll make less noise, less mess, be less of a distraction. I don't think you should go back into a box. I think the box needs to get bigger. In fact, I think we should take away the box and just have an island, atmosphere. I think there should be an atmosphere around this sort of stuff. However, don't burn other people out in the process. This is very important. Get feedback, get input, figure out. And here's the other thing, right? People are expanding as you are expanding. And sometimes you're not going to be aware that you're actually bringing in too much energy, too much hype, too much work. And this is particularly for my team. I know some of you do listen to my lives. I need for you, if you're listening, to tell me not so much that, Valerie, we're afraid of growing, but Valerie, we need to pace this, or let's figure out what extra resources we need. But it's impossible to stay stagnant. That is the conclusion that I've made. And rather than feeling like you're a troublemaker or you need to be put back in the box, figure out if it's time to expand the box, then figure out who's with you and who can provide you some of that resources and assistance to expand. Okay, take care.